you ever been judged before someone even knew who you truly were? Imagine walking into a place, ready to rest after a long journey, only to be humiliated for the color of your skin. That's exactly what happened to Monica Daniels one summer evening, but what the hotel manager didn't know was that Monica carried a secret powerful enough to change his entire life. It all started on a rainy night in Chicago. The air smelled of wet concrete and thunder rolled in the distance. Monica stepped out of her black SUV with her small leather bag in hand. She had just flown in from New York after a long business trip and was looking forward to nothing more than a quiet night in one of the city's finest hotels. The grand lights of the Crowne Plaza Suites shimmered against the wet pavement as she walked toward the entrance. The lobby was magnificent. Marble floors, golden chandeliers, and velvet chairs lined neatly against the walls. But even in that elegance, Monica felt a coldness, a kind of stare she was all too familiar with. Guests whispered as she walked past, their eyes following her. But Monica kept her head high, her steps calm and deliberate. Behind the counter stood Gregory, the hotel manager, a tall, pale man in a perfectly pressed suit, his lips curled into a smile that wasn't warm at all. The moment his eyes landed on Monica, that smile faltered into a smirk. "Good evening," Monica said politely, placing her ID and credit card on the counter. "I have a reservation under Daniels." Gregory didn't even glance at the card. Instead, he gave her a slow look from head to toe, his smirk widening. "Are you sure you're in the right place? This is Crowne Plaza Suites, not some roadside motel." The lobby went silent. A few guests looked up from their phones, pretending not to listen, but their curious eyes stayed fixed on the scene. Monica's fingers tightened around her bag strap. "She is very sure," she replied calmly. "The reservation should be under Daniels." Gregory chuckled, shaking his head. "You see, our rooms here aren't exactly affordable. Maybe you'd be more comfortable somewhere less expensive." The words burned like fire, but Monica didn't flinch. She had dealt with this her whole life, people judging her before they knew her. She simply gave him a steady stare. "I'd like to check in now," she said firmly. But Gregory wasn't finished. He leaned closer, lowering his voice just enough for others to still hear. "Listen, lady, people like you don't usually stay here. Maybe you wandered into the wrong hotel. Let me recommend something in your price range." A gasp came from the corner. One of the bellboys froze mid-step, eyes wide with embarrassment. Monica's jaw tightened, but she stayed silent. She had learned long ago that patience was a weapon. Gregory, mistaking her silence for weakness, straightened his tie and added with a smug grin, "I don't want any trouble, so why don't you save yourself the embarrassment and leave before I have to call security?" That was it. A line had been crossed. Monica reached forward, slowly picked up her ID and credit card, and slipped them back into her wallet. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't argue. Instead, she gave Gregory the calmest smile he had ever seen. "Are you sure," she said softly, "that you want to do this?" Gregory laughed. "Do what? I'm doing my job, keeping the standards of this hotel. You don't belong here, and the sooner you leave, the better for everyone." Monica's eyes held his, unwavering. "You're right about one thing," she said. "This hotel does have standards, but I'm not the one who's failing them tonight." For the first time, Gregory hesitated. Something in her tone, the quiet confidence, made his smile falter. But before he could respond, Monica simply turned and walked away, her heels clicking against the marble floor. Guests whispered louder now, some shaking their heads at the manager's behavior. Gregory straightened his jacket, trying to appear unbothered. "Attention, everyone," he said loudly, as if to reclaim control. "Please excuse the disturbance. Everything is under control." But everything was far from under control. Because what Gregory didn't know, what not a single guest in that lobby could have guessed, was that Monica Daniels wasn't just another visitor. She wasn't just a tired woman looking for a room. Monica was the new majority shareholder of Crown Plaza Hotels International, the very chain Gregory worked for. And tomorrow morning, she would be attending a board meeting right here in this very hotel, a meeting where Gregory's future would be decided. But for now, Monica walked out into the night, her mind calm, her steps steady. She could have revealed everything right there in the lobby, but Monica wasn't the type to waste power on small victories. No, she believed in timing, and her timing would be perfect. Gregory, meanwhile, leaned against the counter, proud of what he thought was another victory. He had humiliated her, pushed her out, and in his mind, protected the prestige of his hotel. What he didn't realize was that the very woman he mocked was about to hold his career in her hands. As the night wore on, Gregory boasted to his staff about how he handled the situation. Some of them looked uneasy, but none dared to challenge him. His arrogance grew with every word. But upstairs, in the private suite reserved for board members, Monica's assistant was already preparing tomorrow's agenda, an agenda with Gregory's name written in bold letters.
The morning light poured through the towering glass windows of Crown Plaza Suites. Guests streamed in and out. Bellboys wheeled carts across the polished floors, and Gregory, the hotel manager, strutted through the lobby with renewed arrogance. To him, last night had been a victory. He had protected the hotel's prestige by forcing out someone he didn't think belonged. His staff walked carefully around him, some still uneasy about how he had humiliated Monica Daniels, but Gregory didn't care. To him, it was just another night, another lesson taught. But this day would not end like any other. Upstairs, on the top floor, a private conference room had been prepared for Crown Plaza International's quarterly board meeting. The long mahogany table gleamed, bottles of spring water neatly arranged, and nameplates placed before each chair. Gregory had been summoned to attend, and although he wasn't usually invited to board meetings, he assumed it was a reward for his good work. He rehearsed in the mirror that morning, practicing his smug smile, ready to boast about his commitment to the brand's standards. At precisely 10 a.m., the board members arrived, executives in tailored suits, briefcases in hand, their faces serious. Gregory bowed his head slightly as they walked past, adjusting his tie nervously. But then, the doors opened again, and in walked Monica Daniels. Gregory froze. His throat went dry, his smug grin evaporating instantly. She wasn't in travel clothes anymore. She wore a sleek black business suit, diamond earrings glinting softly against her skin, and her presence commanded the entire room. She walked with quiet confidence, every step echoing across the polished floor. The executives stood to greet her. Some shook her hand, others offered warm smiles. "Ms. Daniels, we're so glad you could join us. Welcome." Gregory's jaw dropped. "Miss Daniels?" He stumbled back a step, gripping the back of a chair for support. His mind raced, replaying every cruel word he had said to her the night before. Monica glanced at him, just briefly, her eyes calm, unreadable. Then she took her seat at the head of the table. The meeting began. "Ladies and gentlemen," the chairman announced, "as you know, we are entering a new era of leadership at Crown Plaza International. Our majority shareholder, Ms. Monica Daniels, is here today to address us for the first time." The room erupted in polite applause. Gregory's face turned pale. Majority shareholder? He had mocked the woman who owned the very chain he worked for. Monica stood, her hands resting lightly on the table. She looked around the room, her voice steady, every word carrying weight. "This hotel has always been a symbol of excellence, but true excellence is not measured by chandeliers or marble floors. It is measured by how we treat people, the guests who walk through our doors and the staff who dedicate their lives to serving them." Gregory shifted in his seat, sweat forming on his brow. "Last night, Monica continued, her eyes locking onto him. I walked into this very hotel, tired after a long journey, expecting the warmth and hospitality that this brand promises. Instead, I was mocked. I was judged. I was told I did not belong here. The boardroom fell silent. Every eye turned toward Gregory, who now wished he could vanish into thin air. Monica's voice did not rise. She didn't need to. The quiet power in her tone was enough. I could have revealed my identity then and there, but I wanted to see just how far the disrespect would go, and what I saw confirmed what I already knew. This chain needs change. Real change. She paused, her gaze sweeping across the table. We cannot claim to be a brand of luxury if we cannot offer dignity. We cannot claim to be leaders in hospitality if we shut our doors on people because of how they look. That ends today. The executives nodded, murmuring in agreement. Some even clapped softly. But Gregory sat frozen, his throat tight, his pride shattered. Finally, Monica looked directly at him. Mr. Gregory, would you care to explain yourself to the board? All eyes turned. Gregory stammered, his tongue heavy in his mouth. I didn't know. I mean, I thought... You thought wrong, Monica said firmly, cutting him off. You thought your arrogance was power. You thought your prejudice was professionalism, and you thought I was powerless. But today, you see the truth. Gregory's hands trembled. Please, Miss Daniels, I didn't mean... Enough, Monica raised her hand. Your words last night weren't an accident. They were who you are when you believe no one important is watching. But I was watching. And now, so is everyone. The silence that followed was deafening. Then, Monica turned back to the board. Ladies and gentlemen, my first directive as majority shareholder is simple. Hospitality must mean respect. Every guest, regardless of their skin color, background, or wealth, deserves dignity. This is not negotiable. The room erupted in applause. Monica sat back down, calm and composed. But Gregory knew his fate was sealed. His arrogance had destroyed him. The chairman leaned forward, clearing his throat. Mr. Gregory, given last night's incident and your inability to uphold the values of Crowne Plaza, the board has agreed your employment here is terminated, effective immediately. Gregory's face went pale. His legs nearly gave out as two security guards stepped forward. He tried to protest, but no words came. His voice, once full of arrogance, had abandoned him. As he was escorted out, Monica spoke one last time. Let this be a reminder to all of us. Power without respect is nothing. Wealth without compassion is empty. And a hotel without dignity is just a building. Her words echoed long after the doors closed behind Gregory. The meeting adjourned, and Monica stood at the head of the table, greeted with applause and respect. She had not only claimed her rightful place as owner, she had redefined what it meant to lead. And from that day on, Crowne Plaza Hotels would never be the same again. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more powerful stories just like this one. Your support helps us keep bringing you tales of justice, truth, and inspiration. See you in the next story.